Hello everybody, my name's Ryan and I'm a car addict. Today I'd like to thank 500 subscribers for subscribing to me and liking and sharing and everything else. 500 video a day, brilliant. Another 500 to the 1,000. Go anywhere here, couldn't we really? Could do. Could be quite interesting. So this is the 500 subscriber special, something that I've been thinking about and people have been asking about for a while. How long should I own a car for? Well, actually I think you should own the car for the life of your loan, the amount of money that you've taken out for that car. So if you get a new car and you've got it on 4 years, then you should really keep it for 4 years, otherwise you wouldn't see any benefit out of it, would you? No, probably not. But I've got a slight problem in that I'm a car addict, and in the 19 years I've been driving, not just a little bit over, I'm a bit of a car addict, and I've actually owned or used 32 cars in that period. I think there's something slightly wrong with me. Maybe there's something wrong with you as well. I'll go through them, why not? I've had as follows: a K-Reg Escort 1.3. This Escort had blocked injectors and a few other problems, and in 2001 we took it to a Renault garage, and the man in the forecourt tried to sell us a T-Reg Clio. I said to the man, I said, well, how much is a new one? And he went, oh, let me check. And before I'd know it, I bought a brand new Y-Reg Clio 1.2. It was a bit gutless, couldn't get up the hills, but it was a decent car, it was alright. We got fed up with this car being a little bit gutless, so we went back to the garage, and on the 31st of October 2003, then we bought a Clio, another one. Well, actually, we traded the Y-Reg one in for this one. Now, we should have known 31st of October 2003 that this Clio that we bought was going to be hell because it was Halloween. It wasn't all that bad actually. It was a 1.5 diesel 80. It was a pretty decent car. I'll put some pictures up in the corner just up here. You can have a look at them. Except it got in a crash and a roundabout, and we never saw it again. Except a quick check recently showed that it was actually on the road till quite recently, and actually somebody had repaired it. Well, I'll put a picture up here somewhere of it in that crash. After that, we got a S-Reg Ford Escort 1.6, 90 horsepower. Another Escort. It was all right. It was the Mark 6. It wasn't too bad. We had a problem with the clocks, and it worked out that you could clock this car, so there was a mileage discrepancy. I don't know how it happened. And I sold that to a friend. We got, after that, a Proton Compact. I think it was an S-Reg. Proton Compact was a little bit of a strange car. It failed an MOT. I put a jack stand through the floor. When I put the jack stand through the floor, I then got rid of it, as you do, and it failed an MOT, and weirdly it showed up in my street about 6 months later, and it was on fire. But that was a bit different. These cars are in order, by the way. And then I had a Skoda Fabia 1.4 that failed on an MOT, an M-Reg Ford Mondeo 1.8. I did a service on it and it never ran again. Got down the bottom of the street, didn't run. Very weird. M-Reg Citroen Xantia 1.9 going down the highway at Sunderland A19. Going down there, and the hydroelastic suspension decided to die, and the car got lower and lower and lower until the point where it was too low. Yeah, interesting that done. Then got a Ford KA. I'm not too sure which order it was in. I think I got the KA first. I think I did. And the Ford KA, it was all right. Wasn't too bad. A bit rattly, a bit knackered. I was driving down the A19 on the way to work one time, and the back brakes locked on, which was fun. And yeah, I had to leave it in gear everywhere. because it was a little bit broken, that car. We went to power wash it, and the mud that was holding it together was basically keeping it together, so that one went to scrap. I then had a Ford Puma 1.7, it was alright. Don't know what happened to that one. A V-Reg Peugeot 406 Saloon 2 litre. Now this car was a slight problem. It was from Northern Ireland, and in Ireland they had different trade numbers, so when it came over it was replated, and I got this car for like 500 quid. It was really cheap at the time. Really nice car. I actually quite enjoyed that car, but I was really struggling to get insurance in the UK because according to the database this should have been a Mark II, and the one that I had was a Mark I on a V plate, and they didn't exist according to the insurers. So yeah, couldn't do anything with it. Ended up selling that one. Actually saw it on a motorway. I actually saw it on the A1M about a year after I'd bought it, on different alloys, and somebody had stripped the roof bars and the towing point and everything off it. Yeah, it didn't look in a good state actually. I'd been disappointed that one. Then got a T-Reg Vauxhall Vectra 1.8. This was alright. Gearbox failed on it. I got a new gearbox for it. And yeah, it was alright. I ran it up and down to the lakes and back quite a few times. In the middle of absolute bloody nowhere. Speed camera. I was doing 66 and a 60. And that car was basically impossible. Went down a massive hill. Car was in the middle of nowhere. The camera was in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. I had briefly a 51 reg Renault Clio 2 litre 172 Sport. It was crap. Don't buy one ever. And apparently the 182 is just as equally poor. A lot of people can't handle them. I'm pretty good driving, being a driving instructor now, but that was a pretty poor car. Yeah, wasn't very good. A Citroen Zara. Yeah, enough said about that one. That one didn't last very long. That one got sold as well. I then had a in the middle of all of this, I don't know where it is, but I've got pictures of them. They're over here. A T-Reg Fiat Punto, and also a S-Reg Fiat Cinquecento. The Cinquecento actually failed. Its clutch failed, and it leaked clutch fluid everywhere, which was interesting, off the slave cylinder, and that took a long time to clean up. I then had a W-Reg Peugeot 406 Coupe 3 litre V6. Because it was prior to the new tax laws in 2001, it was dead cheap to insure, dead cheap to tax. I got it off my uncle's garage for 890 quid or something like that. What an amazing machine. I love this car. It's my favourite car of all time, so I'll put some pictures up here. I absolutely adored that car. Went to take it to an MOT, and it had so much wrong with it, it was unreal. It had like bushes and tyres and all sorts of wear and play in the rack, and it was basically tired. The engine was fantastic. I ended up selling that one for 500 quid, and I ended up getting a Nissan Almera 51 plate. I drove it down to Peterborough and back. I used to do a job one time down to Peterborough and back. It was awful. And then I drove it across to the lakes. I parked it up near a garage, and I went to the man, would you want to buy this car off me? And he says, yes, I'll take the car off you. I'll give you 300 quid off that Honda over there. And I ended up getting a T-plate Honda Accord 2 litre. That was very nice. That one actually kind of sort of saved my life when I was going across the A66 in the snow one time at 30 miles an hour. Again on the way over the lakes. What an amazing bit of kit that was. I loved that car. What an amazing drive. I only got rid of that car because it was getting towards 100,000, and at that time it was nearly 15-year-old, and it needed things like the timing belt doing it on it. It needed a full service. It was going to cost about 600 or 700 quid in servicing and spares and repairs to get it through. I had it for about 18 months as well. After that one, I had a 2007 Ford Fiesta, not for very long, a few weeks, something like that. Didn't like it, returned it. I got a Daewoo Nubira that became a Chevy Nubira, I believe. I haven't got any pictures of it because I actually only owned that one for 16 hours. I picked it up on like a 3 o'clock in the afternoon, done some test drives. I'd bought it for like £1,000, maybe 1,200 quid. I picked it up in the afternoon, drove it a little bit, then I went to the shops, come back, decided I didn't want it, and like 10 o'clock in the morning turned back up to the garage and said, I don't fancy this car. And he went, oh right, well, we'll take it back off your hands. I've got this lovely C4 Picasso. Yeah, go on then. And this thing was a tank. It was like driving a bus, and I've driven buses. It was a huge bus thing, this C4 Picasso. I didn't own it for very long. I got rid of it. And I got a 52 plate Jaguar S-Type 4.2 V8. What a machine. What an amazing car. It even had sat-nav for a 52 plate. What a car. I was driving down the motorway, the M6, on the way back from the lakes one time, and I was doing 70 miles an hour, and it felt like you were doing 30. It was a dream. There is another story here, but I'm not going to indict myself. I then got a Y-plate Jaguar S-Type, just by total accident, no specific reason behind it, a 3 litre. Now, both of these cars I owned at the same time, and both of them failed an MOT for exactly the same reason, as if they'd been parked in a puddle for 10 years. They were literally rotten underneath. They were so bad it was unreal. The 3 litre I owned a little bit longer, and I ended up getting rid of it. Sold both of them in the end. And yeah, I've got a picture with both of them on the same picture. If I can find it, I'll put it there. A little bit of a break, and then I had a 58. No, I had a little bit of a break, and then I had a Citroen Picasso, the Zara one, the little one, the grey one. Quite like that one. I actually got a sofa in that car. It was all right. Ran it round for a bit. It was all right. I then had a Renault Scenic, Megane Scenic, which the clutch failed on Boxing Day, going down to my mother's in the lakes. Yeah, that was fun. Actually failed on the Spire Bridge. Yeah, great fun. Got rescued by the AA that time. I then got a 58 reg Vauxhall Insignia 1.8. That one was all right. It was good. It ran for a long time. I had it for about 3 years, that one. That car didn't really let me down. Took it to an MOT, and it failed for the tin worm. Yes, people were surprised by it. In fact, it was completely rusty underneath. The man in the garage was even quite surprised. We had a 2007 Vauxhall Corsa 1.2. We used that for a little bit. That was all right. Quite enjoyed that car. Quite nice. Quite a nice little drive. A 63 reg Vauxhall Antara. Still got that one. That one's got a DPF fault. I'm looking to get that one remapped and serviced and everything soon. That one could be quite expensive to fix though. A 68 reg Vauxhall Corsa. That was my first learner car. That one came from the company who should not be named, and that one had a coolant fault that went in the garage, that then developed a gearbox fault, that then failed, that then I got the car taken away from me and never saw it again, but it's still on the database. So I guess the company who should not be named fixed it. I guess they did. After that I had a loan e-car. Effectively I've used it. 2018. It was a Kia Picanto, a bit like the i10. That era, those ones before 2019, but after 2015 I think, that era of those cars, they were awful. That thing couldn't pull the skin off a rice pudding. It was terrible for a learner car. It had no puff. For the area that I cover, it was absolutely useless. I couldn't do much with it. It was a really difficult car to control. Students didn't particularly like it. I think I had about 7 tests in that car, and only 2 people passed, because they hated the car. Not because they didn't like they actually hated the car. They really hated that car. I then bought this car, 2017 Renault Clio. This is my 3rd learner car. This one's nice, 1.2 turbo, quite a decent car. Story about that coming up soon, about why a car's a little bit underpowered, but we'll come back to that another day. And also, when this was getting repaired, getting the coolant thing fixed, I went out and bought a Hyundai i30 1.6 CRDI, 115 brake horsepower or something like that. Lovely car, 100,000 miles, absolutely amazing, dead cheap as well. ULEZ compliant, but well, we haven't got any clean air zones around here that actually do things to your cars, not like London and stuff. But actually, it's a really decent car. I can put 60 quid in that car and get 500 miles out of it. What an amazing little bit of car. I think that's my complete car history. I think there might be one or two that I'm missing. I put a count up here. I think I said 32 at the start. I think it might be 33 or 34 or even possibly 35. Yeah. My name's Ryan. I'm a car addict. If you like what you saw today, like and subscribe. 500 subscribers. Bye.